Hello there, fourth graders, and welcome to Math here on BCPS-TV. My name is Mr. Tang, and we'll be working on the first lesson for the week of May 11th through May 15th. Today's lesson will focus on adding fractions with denominators of 10 and 100. Today we will add fractions with denominators of 10 and 100 by using equivalent fractions in order to solve real-world problems. Let's get started by doing this fun-looking math puzzle. If you need to, you can pause the video, take a picture, or access this through your Schoology page in the Try It section of this lesson. Use the digits 0 to 9, no more than one time each, to fill in the boxes to decompose 1 and 1/10. Alright, so you are asked to go ahead and break down 1 and 1/10 into 4 different addends. 3 of those addends have a denominator of 10th. And the last one has a denominator of 100. So what are 4 fractions you can add together to equal 1 and 1/10? Take a second and think through this. Alright, so there are a few different ways to solve this, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how I'm going to solve this. I know that 1 and 1/10 can be broken down to 1 plus 1/10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my first addend being 1/10. That means the rest of the addends added up together have to equal 1 whole. Can you think of 3 fractions added up together that equal 1 whole? Let's try this. 5/10 is half of 1 whole. So that means the next 2 addends have to equal 5/10. So let's go ahead and use 3/10. So 5 plus 3 is 8, 8/10, meaning I have 2/10 left over. Is there a way I could represent 2/10 using hundredths? How about this? Let's go ahead and dive in deeper. Fractions and decimals are related. Tenths and hundredths can be represented using decimal grids as shown below. It's also important to remember that 10 1/100ths is equal to 1/10. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example. 68 hundredths plus 67 hundredths. We can use decimal grids by shading in both of our fractions and counting up our total. So using 2 different colors, we can shade in 68 and 67, giving us a total of 135 hundredths shaded. That's the same as 1 whole and 35 hundredths. 68 hundredths plus 67 hundredths equals 1 whole and 35 hundredths. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. This time, our denominators are different. 9/10 plus 19 hundredths. We're going to use the same exact strategy. We're going to use our grids and shade in 9/10 using a colored pencil. Now I know that 9/10 is the same as 90/100ths because if I were to take 9/10 and multiply that by 10/10, we would get 90/100ths. So after shading in 9/10 and 19/100ths, we see that we have a total of 109/100ths shaded. That is the same as 1 whole and 9/100ths. So 9/10 plus 19/100ths equals 1 whole and 9/100ths. For more on adding fractions with denominators of 10 and 100, let's turn to our friends from Pearson. As you watch, think about how you can use equivalent fractions and decimal grids to add.
How can you add fractions with denominators of 10 and 100? Think about this question during the lesson. Jana and Steve collected money for an animal shelter. Jana collected 5/100ths of their goal, while Steve collected 4/10ths. How much of their goal did Jana and Steve collect? The red part of the diagram shows 4/10ths of the goal, and the blue shows 5/100ths of the goal. How can you find how much of their goal Jana and Steve have reached? The amount they collected can be written as 4/10ths plus 5/100ths. Add 4/10ths plus 5/100ths. Can you add the two fractions? No. You use like denominators to add fractions. The fractions do not have the same denominator. You can use equivalent fractions to write tenths as hundredths. Rewrite 4/10ths as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. Multiply the numerator and denominator by 10. 4/10ths times 10/10ths equals 40/100ths. Now add the numerators and write the sum over the like denominator. What is the sum?
Select your answer.
(40/100ths plus 5/100ths equals 45/100ths. Jana and Steve have collected 45/100ths of their goal. Have they collected more or less than 1/2 of their goal? They have collected less than 1/2 of their goal. 50/100ths would be 1/2 of their goal. Jana and Steve have only collected 45/100ths of their goal, and 45/100ths is less than 50/100ths. Now you know how to add fractions with denominators of 10 and 100.
Great job!
Way to go, mathematicians. Now it's your turn. A PowerPoint of Reteach 12-4 and Guided Practice 12-4 can be found on your Schoology page. You can open up the PowerPoint and use the Draw feature to digitally write on the resource sheet and save it and upload it for your teacher to see. The Draw feature can be found in a toolbar once you have opened PowerPoint. When you are comfortable and ready to, move on to the Independent Practice 12-4, also found in Schoology. Complete numbers 9 through 17 to be turned in. Feel free to finish the rest of the page as well as the math practices and problem solving for additional practice. Great job today, boys and girls. And as always, stay safe, wash those hands, and do the math.